Shalom, ahad wa baraka. Peace, love, and blessings. First and foremost, all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rawa Kadash. And double honors to all of the sincere prophets, elders, and disciples doing this work. Also the apostles. All right, let's just get right into it. I was going to do a class on the Passover, but right when I opened up my notes, all of a sudden I started getting precepts flying at me from everywhere. So since the precepts are coming out from this particular class, I'm gonna do this class instead. So let's just go ahead and start from the book of Romans. And we're gonna start at chapter 15, verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. So, in other words, whatever was written by our forefathers was written so we could learn. So, pretty much learning at this point, we're learning from our forefathers' mistakes. Also, we have forefathers that have done things correctly that we want to take example from. What our mission as Israel is to come back to the laws, the statutes, and the commandments. And the reason why we're pushing this so hard, the apostles, the elders, the disciples, all of the sincere prophets out there, the reason why we are pushing this truth just to the bloodline of Israel is because to get the kingdom back, which was promised to us through our forefathers. So that's why we're teaching you guys that you're the kings and queens of the earth, not just you're the king of the earth and you go back to this unrighteous behavior. The world is filled with sin. Let's jump over to the book of 1 Samuel and chapter 28. And we're going to start at 1 Samuel 28, and we're going to start at verse 3. Now Samuel was dead, and all Israel had lamented him and buried him in Ramah, even in his own city. And of course, I always tell you that the word even is an old English word that means indeed. So we're saying for sure, like definitely. And so let's read it again right there. Now Samuel was dead, and all Israel had lamented him and buried him in Ramah, indeed in his own city. And Samuel had put away those that had familiar spirits and the wizards out of the land. So anybody that was dealing with familiar spirits, he got rid of. And anybody that was dealing in witchcraft, which would be a wizardry. So he got rid of all those people. You stay out of our land. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going. And the Philistines gathered themselves together and came and pitched in Shunem. And Saul gathered all Israel together, and they pitched in Gilboa. And when Saul saw that the host of the Philistines, he was afraid, and his heart was greatly trembled. So he was like, he got shook. He got straight shook when he saw the other army. Verse 6. And when Saul inquired of the Lord, Yahweh answered him not, neither by dreams, nor by Urim, nor by prophets. Verse 7. So when he prayed and cried out to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, he said, the scriptures are telling us that the Most High did not answer him. Now he's really shook, because before the Most High would reply to him in a dream or in a vision or through the prophets, but nobody had anything to say. It was just blank. So let's keep going though. Verse 7. Then said Saul unto his servants, seek me a woman that hath a familiar spirit, and I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servant said to him, behold, there is a woman that hath a familiar spirit at Endor. So he already had Samuel remove all these people from out of Israel in the first place. Let's go back to verse 3. Now Samuel was dead, and all Israel had lamented him and buried him in Ramah, indeed in his city, in his own city. And Saul had put away those that had familiar spirits and the wizards out of the land. So now Saul has gotten rid of all these people. Now Samuel's dead. He's not getting a reply from Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai. So now he's really shook. He's so scared that the same people he said, if you do wizardry, witchcraft, or conjure up familiar spirits, I will kill you. That was the decree. So now he's out looking for him. And so verse 8. And Saul disguised himself and put on other raiment, and he went, and 2 men with him, and they came to the woman by night, and he said, I pray thee, divine unto me by the familiar spirit, and bring me him up, whom I shall name unto thee. So he's saying, I want you to conjure up a dead person, and it's going to be the dead person's name that I give you. And the woman said unto him, behold, thou knowest what Saul hath done, how he hath cut off those that have familiar spirits and the wizards out of the land. Wherefore then layest thou a snare for my life to cause me to die? So she's saying, like, you trying to trap me? You trying to get me caught up? Because you know Saul said if I were to do that, that they'll come over here and kill me. Why are you trying to get me hemmed up and get me dealt with to where I die? Verse 10. And Saul swore to her by the Lord, saying, as the Lord liveth. And he's talking about Yahweh. It's in capitals. He's swearing. That's another that he's just all over the place breaking the laws. But as the Lord liveth, there shall no punishment happen to thee for this thing. Then said the woman, whom shall I bring up upon thee? And he said, bring me up Samuel. Okay? So, but let's go back to, so what he did was he went right to the familiar spirits to try and talk to Samuel, because Yahweh would not speak to him. He's not dealing with him anymore. So he used witchcraft instead of faith. Do you understand? So he used witchcraft instead of faith. Let's go over to Samuel 28, and we're going to jump up to verse 15. We're going to stay in 28 and jump up to verse 15. I mean, you know what? Let's just read through it, right? Let's not jump around. Let's just read right through it. So let's go to verse 11. And the woman said, whom shall I bring up unto thee? And he said, bring me up Samuel. And when the woman saw Samuel, she cried with a loud voice. And the woman spake to Saul, saying, why hast thou deceived me? For thou art Saul. So right when she saw Samuel, she knew she was dealing with Saul. Now she's shook. She's thinking that this is all a setup again and they're about to kill her. And the king said unto her, be not afraid, for what sayest thou? And the woman said unto Saul, I saw gods ascending out of the earth. And he said unto her, what form is he of? And she said, an old man cometh up, and he is covered with a mantle. And Saul perceived that it was Samuel, and he stooped with his face to the ground and bowed himself. So it was a man with a mantle. So let's see what a mantle is: a cloak or a robe. So if you want to know what a mantle is, now you know. Okay, so he bowed himself to the ground. And Samuel said to Saul, why hast thou disquieted me to bring me up? And Saul answered, I am sore distressed, for the Philistines make war against me, and God is departed from me, and answereth me no more, neither by prophets nor by dreams. Therefore I have called thee, that thou mayest make known unto me what I shall do. So he's saying, what do I do, man? I don't know what to do. The Most High stopped speaking to me, and I need some help. So let's read. Let's keep going. We're going to keep going. We'll keep going. Verse 16. Then said Samuel, wherefore then dost thou ask of me, seeing that Yahweh is departed from thee and is become thine enemy? Ooh. Yahweh, if you sin, God is your enemy. If you sin, God is your enemy. So we got to get a precept on that. So let's go to the book of Sirach, also known as Ecclesiasticus. And you want to go to chapter 12 and verse 6. I don't even have that highlighted. For the Most High hateth sinners, and will repay vengeance unto the ungodly, and keepeth them against the mighty day of their punishment. So yes, Yahweh hates sinners. No, Yahweh hates the sin, not the sinner. I don't know where people came up with that, because I've yet to see that in the Bible. I've read this book over 9 times, front to back, all the outside books, every book there is. I ain't never seen one scripture, not even in the books that they kicked out of the Bible. Not even in the books that everybody disputes, like the book of Enoch, the book of Joshua. Those won't even say that. You don't have anywhere in any book where it says God hates the sinner and not the sin. It says God hates the sin, not the sinner. You'll never find where it says God hates the sin, not the sinner. God hates the sin and the sinner. In fact, he will repay vengeance upon thee. So he hates sinners. That's what Samuel is telling Saul right now. Shall I keep going? Yes, I'm going to keep going. And the Lord hath done to him as he spake by me. For Yahweh hath rent the kingdom out of thine hand and given it to thy neighbor, indeed to David, because thou obeyest not the voice of Yahweh, nor executeth his fierce wrath upon Amalek. Do you know what Saul's job was? His job was to kill all of the Amalekites. Now, only you guys that study know who that is. And I'm not going to tell you unstudied people. You got to take some more classes. The fierce wrath upon Amalek. Therefore hath the Yahweh done this thing unto thee. I am going to tell you who Amalek is. Amalek is the same people that funded these slave ships. Amalek is the same people that kicked Nick Cannon off of TV for saying that we're the Israelites. Amalekites read the Talmud. Israelites read the Torah, the Tanakh, and the New Testament, also the Apocrypha. Can you figure out who Amalek is? They own all of your TV stations, all of your news. They control the media. You can't figure it out? Something's wrong with you. Let me give you one last hint who Amalek is. Let me give you one last hint. I know, this is Revelation 2:9. I know thy works and thy tribulation and thy poverty. That's talking about the real Israelites. But thou art rich. Why would the real Israelites have poverty and tribulation but be rich? Because in the end, Yahweh chose us. But anyway, I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. So, yeah, Amalek, he was supposed to kill all the fake Jews back in the Old Testament, right? But before David was even king, all these Amalekites were supposed to be done away with. But anyway, let's keep going. Verse 19. Moreover, Yahweh will also deliver Israel with these into the hand of the Philistines, and tomorrow shalt thou and thy sons be with me. Yahweh also shall deliver the host of Israel into the hand of the Philistines. So, did you hear what he said? Samuel said, because you're a sinner, Yahweh hates you. And all of Israel is going to be given into the hands of the Philistines, and you and your sons are going to die. That's what he just told him. Let's see what his reaction is. Verse 20. Then Saul fell straightway all along on the earth, and was sore afraid because of the words of Samuel. And there was no strength in him, for he had eaten no bread all the day, nor all the night. So he was already fasting, and when he heard that the Most High is going to smite him and his sons on the next day, he literally just fell out. He was done. He didn't know what to do. He didn't die. He was just laying there, just kind of freaked out. But anyway, let's move on. Let's jump over to the book of Ezekiel. So we know right there that instead of faith, what did Saul do? He used witchcraft. And by using witchcraft, what happened? We figured out that Yahweh hates sinners. He hates sin, but he really hates the sinner. And he's going to pay vengeance upon thee. So what happened to Samuel the next day? What happened to Saul the next day? Not only did Saul walk with his forefathers or sleep with his forefathers, so did his sons. In other words, they were all killed in battle. Let's move on, though. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel. Here we go. Ezekiel chapter 33. And we're going to start at verse 31. And they came unto thee as people cometh, and they sit before thee as people, and they hear the word, but will not do them. For with their mouth they show much love, but their hearts goeth after their covetousness. So just like Saul, he loved the Most High, but he refused to do what the Most High said, or he wouldn't have been out there messing around with the witchcraft in the first place. He would have just used his faith. But anyway, and that's our same problem today. Let me keep going though. Let me read one more. And lo, thou art unto them a very lovely song. Let me start over. And lo, thou art unto them as a very lovely song of one that hath a pleasant voice and can play well on an instrument. For they hear the words, but they do them not. So, just like when you, like when I say it's, that's our same problem today. Even with and I can go in on the church, but really I'm going to go in on Israelites. Because people are showing up, going into the camps. I can't even get into a camp. I would love to be in a camp, but the only camp I would be in is GMS. They're not accepting any people because they're smart. So I can't even be in a camp. And the people that are in camps, they'll show up to the camp, go through the motions, and then go right back into the world. But pridefully, they'll go back into the world and be worldly, but a little bit better than everybody else because they got fringes on and they heard the word, and they know that they Israelites, and all of you devils are going to die, and I'm going to be your slave. Okay, you're going to be the slave master over the devils. Okay, great. But God hates sinners. And sinners are people that will hear his words and do them not. So you guys are doing the same thing as the Christian church. You're doing the exact same thing. Well, how is it said? They praising Yahweh on the Shabbat, and as soon as the new week starts, they're going right back into sin. You're blessing and cursing out of the same mouth. But let's keep going. Let's jump over to the book of Mark. We're just going to do some jumping around now, get into some things. Mark chapter 4, and we're going to start at verse 14. Man, there's so much in Mark. We'll start at 13. And this is Yahushua speaking. And he said unto them, Know ye not this parable? And how then will ye know all parables? So verse 14. The sower soweth the word. Okay? Who soweth the word? The sower. Who's the sower? And these are they by the wayside where the word is sown. But when they have heard, Satan cometh immediately and taketh away the word that was sown in their hearts. So, the sower, let me just go back to that. The sower is the prophet, the apostle, the elder, the disciple. And when you see them on the highways and hedges and you hear the word, and right when you hear something that was really interesting in this word, some scoffer comes up and starts to dispute the prophet, bringing nothing but confusion and their own vain imagination with the precepts of men, confusing the word to a person who has never actually heard the truth with the correct precepts to make a good determination of what the real truth is. So that scoffer has the spirit of Satan on him. And he comes in immediately and he confuses the word. And then he sends you away wondering instead of feeling reinforced. I wonder which one was right, you know. And if you go home, some of you are lucky enough to have the spirit on you to challenge everything, but not everybody. Some people really need to hear just the truth. But then Satan cometh immediately, and he taketh away the words right out of that were sown in your heart, and he removes them. So, but let's just keep going. Let's keep going. And these are they likewise which are sown on stony ground, whom they would have heard the word immediately receive it with gladness, and have no root in themselves, and so endure but for a time. Afterwards the affliction or persecution ariseth for the word's sake, immediately they are offended. So you know, what happens is you hear the word and you're excited about it. And as soon as everyday life hits you again, and you thought because you heard the word that the Most High was just instantly going to save you because you found out you were Israelite, and nothing happens because you have done nothing for the Most High except for understand who you are, you get offended. You're like one of them kids that wants to get paid before they clean their room. Stumbling blocks are what you get. And if you can't find a way over, through, or around these stumbling blocks, you find excuses and immediately start to remove yourself from the word because you think that you can handle your problems without Yahweh, showing a serious lack of faith. Let's go ahead and keep going. Verse 18. And these are they which are sown among the thorns, such as hear the word, and the cares of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches, and the lust of other things entering in, choke the word, and it becometh unfruitful. Like I said, just like I said. Let me read that again. And the cares of the world, and the deceitfulness of riches. I'm going to say that. Let me start at 18 again. I'm sorry. And these are they which are sown among thorns, such as hear the word, and the cares of the world, and the deceitfulness of riches, and the lust of other things entering in, choke the word, and it becometh unfruitful. So when they hear the word, and then they look back into the worldly life, and they realize, well, if I'm keeping this word, I'm starting to see that I can't keep this worldly life. And the worldly life becomes more powerful to them than the word. Just like when you put certain weeds around other plants, the root of the weed will overpower the root of the fruitful plant and destroy it. And that's kind of what's happening to these worldly people that can't get away from that lustful, deceitful life where riches control everything. Let me keep going, though. Let me keep going. So there's three types of Israelites. The first three types. There's lack of faith. It's just different circumstances that take you out. That's all there is to it. So you've got you got the Israelite that sows the word, and then we've got the sower, then we've got the ones by the wayside. They hear the word and then are offended. Then you got the ones that are that they don't get instant gratification, go right back to their old ways. And then the third type of Israelite, the lack of faith. So when they see the world, it's more attractive to them than following instruction. So that's how the word gets choked out of them. Let me keep going. Let me read one more. And these are they which are sown on good ground, such as hear the word and receive it and bring forth fruit, sometimes 30-fold, sometimes 60-fold, and some 100-fold. And so when the sower comes and he introduces the word to good people with a good heart, they accept the word and they receive the message, and they go out after they study and also teach the word, sometimes 30-fold, sometimes 60, and some 100. So they're waking up sometimes 30, sometimes 60, sometimes 100 Israelites that didn't know who they were because they weren't offended by the word. They didn't have to get instant gratification. They didn't have the word choked out of them because they like the worldly life better. They these Israelites that the prophets are sowing, are sown on good ground, when they hear the word, it's like a spark inside of them, and it ignites a true fire in your heart. Not everybody gets that, so not everybody's meant for this. But the fourth type of Israelite will bring forth fruit, and then you have to go through the trials and the tribulations of the first three types to even get a chance to see the blossoms of your own faith. You see what I'm saying? Like you've gotta go through all of these trials and tribulations. Just be like being on the wayside. You still have to have the riches of the world. You still have to have all the trials. You still have all your daily problems. You still have to have the world screwing with you, telling you it's better to be rich than anything. You have all that stuff too. But since you were sown in good soil, it doesn't matter to you. And that's the blossom of your faith. When worldliness just kind of goes away and you find comfort in the scriptures. Let's jump over to Romans. Chapter 2 and verse 13. Not for the hearers of the law are just before Yahweh, but the doers of the law shall be justified. So, the people that hear the word and go back to their daily life, or like I told you earlier, the Israelites that are acting just like Christians. They go through the motions, they go to the classes, they're wearing the fringes, but then they go back into the world, and they act worldly. With pride though, because you got little fringes on, you know you were Israelite. It's not the hearers of the word, but it's the doers that are going to be justified. And I have a class for all that too. I can't wait to bring out that class now. Now I understand why the Most High wanted me to bring this one out, because I should bring that one out next. So let me keep going though. Let me keep going. Romans 2:13. One more time. For not the hearers of the law are justified or just before Yahweh, but the doers of the law shall be justified. What's the law? The law is the word. The laws, the statutes, the commandments, the direct ordinances, everything that he told us to do. That's what it's talking about. When we do what he told us to do. In other words, when we follow his instructions, those are the people that follow his instructions shall be justified. Application. That's the word I'm looking for. Application. When you learn something in this book, you need to apply it to your life. And it should be pretty easy for us to receive the milk. Well, I take that back. It's easy for the 1/3 and the 144,000 within that 1/3 to receive this milk, to get that. See, and then, if you want to talk about the milk and the breasts and all that, you just go to Isaiah 28:9 and start there. Because there's another thing we got to get into. When we're doing our works, a lot of people get hasty. They want to make things happen. And I was like, everybody gets excited right when they hear this word. So you do get hasty and you do want things to happen right away. That's called an instant blessing. This generation wants an instant blessing. The problem is that you don't get an instant blessing. You have to be patient in your works. And then the blessings start to roll in over a period of time. You have to have faith. This generation wants an instant blessing. They don't want to do the work. They hear they're an Israelite and they think, oh, yeah. Well, no, you got to go home. You got to start studying. You got to start taking notes. You got to learn that, if I need to wear a garment, let me get my garment on. If I need to bring out classes on the highways and the hedges, let me hit the streets. If I need to tell everybody in my family, if I need to separate myself from every single person I know for the sake of this word, then I better do that. The generation of this time wants an instant blessing. They don't want to do the work. I hear people crying about losing their family all the time. You know what? I understand it. I never lost my wife, but when I heard this word, she thought I was gonna leave her. I'll tell you what, because I said this house has to be in order. That's all there is to it. And I lost my mom, my dad, my sister, all my cousins and nephews, nieces, everybody around me, except literally my wife and 4 kids. And all praises to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, for letting me at least have my one family. Because the Akiyan that stands right next to me, he lost all that and his family at home. And his family. I don't have words because I can't really tell him anything because I didn't lose my family. I just have to shut up and know that I don't really know how he feels in that situation, but it's got to be devastating. Devastating. But these works and this blessing and this kingdom is more important to him than having a few good times with some people that hate Yahweh. And then I have to, and if anything, I have to have a greater respect for him for that. Let me jump over to the book of Luke. And we're going to go to verse 14. There's a lot of meat in 12, I'll tell you what. We're going to go to 14 and 28. Like I said, I'm just jumping around a little bit today. Luke 14 and 28. For which of you intending to build a tower sitteth down first and counteth the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it? And verse 29. Lest happily after he hath laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold it begin to mock him. And to mock means to treat you harshly. In other words, to make fun of you. Harsh behavior. So, when you're building a good relationship with Yahweh, your family are going to be the first ones mocking you. When you fail, they're going to be really happy to just take you back. But they're going to be like, I told you so. Told you so. Don't get back over here into the world with us. Let's go. Let's go. Come on now. Like I said, I lost my family. I ain't getting no mocking over here. I'm from a bad place. They don't want to mock me. They'd rather stay away from me. But they don't realize that I come with love of this power of the Spirit. This great knowledge that he gave to certain people. All we want to do is share it with everybody. And I think that's like the hardest part. Don't nobody want to hear this knowledge. Do you know that? Don't nobody want to hear this knowledge. They would rather watch videos, buy new clothes, go out drinking, worry about just frivolous things that have nothing to do with getting into this kingdom. But let's go back to it again. We were in let's go back. We were at verse 30. Well, let's read 29 again. Lest happily after he hath laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold it begin to mock him, saying, This man began to build and was not able to finish. Or what king going to make war against another king sitteth down first and consulteth whether he be able with 10,000 to meet him that cometh against him with 20,000? So you think, in other words, are you going to be able to do this? I got to think about things before I do them. So when I build a relationship with Yahweh, I need to take it a little bit slower. I need to pump the brakes a little. I need to do my studies. I need to take my notes. I need to listen to the elders and follow along. That means having less to say and more listening going on. I noticed on the GMS, go on one of their live chats. I dare you to say some stupid shit. They'll kick you out of the class. They will block you. You go to Sakari, you can say anything you want. But when you start bringing out too many scriptures, they'll tell you, they tell the prophets to stop teaching. Why would they say, to teachers to stop teaching, or however it is, and so if you go back to a GMS class, you are not allowed to go on their live chat and start just typing in anything. If you have something to say, chapter, verse, write out the verse. Speak through the scriptures. You do that on other live chats, they'll tell you to stop teaching. Why? Why would they want to stop you? So, when you're building a relationship with Yahweh, you have to take your time. You've got to go through trials. You've got to go through tribulations. You've got to be on the wayside. You've got to be around the stony ground. You've got to be around the offended. And if you were sown in good soil, none of that stuff is going to stop you. You're going to take your time. You're going to use application. So when you learn something, you're going to use it in your life. You're not just going to put it on the back burner and decide to keep going, because that's going right back into worldliness. That puts you on that puts you in a very special place. You're on a narrow path. And the more you refine yourself, the more pure gold you are, and the more narrow your path gets. See, a broad path can fit a couple people on. You guys are all walking together. But at a certain point, you're going to find yourself on the narrow path. If you're following these scriptures, that narrow path is so skinny, you can only walk on it one person at a time, alone. You can't take somebody with you on the narrow path. You have to take the narrow path by yourself. So you're not going to be holding hands next to your wife. Nope. She's going to be on her narrow path. Your kids too. It's the way it is. It's not made up. So when you're building a good relationship with Yahweh, this world starts to taper into nothing. And when you take all of the impurities of this world out, you'll see yourself, wow, I ain't doing none of that. I don't do none of this. And all that's over there. All this is over there. But I'm right here walking on this narrow path that's so fine that if I sway to the left or right any, I could fall right off of it. So when you're building a relationship with Yahweh, your family's going to mock you. They're going to try and push you off the narrow path. And when you fail, they're going to be happy. Like I said 5 minutes ago, they're going to be happy to take you back. But they're going to tell you, I told you so. And they're going to think of this as just another fly-by-night cult situation that you were into. Like when people decide, I'm going to be a Buddhist, I'm going to be a Muslim, I'm going to be a Christian, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that. Every 5 months, it's into something else. They're waiting for that right now, especially your family. Especially your family. So when you're building a relationship with Yahweh, you slow it down. You do the studies. You take the notes and you listen to the elders. And like I said, the reason why I keep using Great Millstone as an example, because if you look through the history, everybody learned from them. Everybody learned from them. And they're the only ones that aren't rocking a logo, a t-shirt. They're the only ones that aren't turning this into a profitable, financially profitable business. This work needs to be spiritually profitable. So when I say listen to the elders, I'm going to be very specific with you. The elders of Great Millstone know what they're talking about. Other than that, I don't know. Everybody else seems to always have a flaw. Let's make an example. Last year, well, you know what? This year, Sakari said some books in the New Testament shouldn't be there. Sakari at the last Passover, really it was in a type of club where the waitresses will strip for money. They have one downtown here in Arizona. You've got one body in Yahushai who said that Yahushai never did any miracles, and if he ever did a miracle, it was witchcraft. You got GOCC, they're just literally Hebrew Israelite Christians. You've got ISUPK. Not only do they have a 501c3, but they told you to take the jab. I'm watching videos showing 9 pages of side effects that they're now releasing to everybody that they're going to wait 55 years to release. And they're not going to wait 55 years now. They're going to let it out now. Let's keep going. IUIC. We all know they have a 501c3. And if you wanted to join their camp, not only do they want to do a background check on you, but you have to pay a membership fee, and you have to pay for all of their high holy days. You have to pay to walk with them. When they march through the streets 500 deep, you have to pay to be in that. So everything about them. You're not allowed to make money at royalty records. So IUIC literally is a damn vacuum for your money with a 501c3, which means that let's hear them say something about gay people. Oh, you have to repent or you're going to go. That's what they'll tell you. You have to repent or you're going to go burn hell. They'll never tell them that God hates them and that they're a blasphemy. No, they can't. They have to still push a universal feel-good message even as a Hebrew Israelite. So when I say to slow down, study, take notes, and listen to the elders, I'm going to be very specific one more time. The elders of GMS have been preaching the same prophecy for the last 10 years that I can go back on YouTube. Classes that they were bringing out 10 years ago, shit's happening now. Everybody's kind of just fading out. But they're getting stronger and bigger. So when I say listen to the elders, like I said, it would be the elders of the Great Millstone. And we're just going to go ahead and we're just going to stop right there for right now. But you know what? Nah, I'm gonna bring out a couple more verses. Forget that. I got more verses on me right now, and I'm not gonna let them go. Let's go to Ecclesiasticus chapter 2, and we're gonna start at verse. We're just gonna watch on it. I love reading through. I love Ecclesiasticus chapter 2, and it lines right up with what we're talking about. So let's just start from the top. My son, if thou comest to serve Yahweh, prepare thy soul for temptation. So don't think this world and the spiritual Satan ain't going to come after you. You got to be prepared. You have to be spiritually prepared to have these things happen. Verse 2, set thy heart aright and consistently endure and make not haste in time of trouble. That's a loaded verse. Set thy heart aright. How do you do that? By keeping the laws, the statutes within the laws, and the direct commands that he gave us. How about this? And consistently endure. That would be your family mocking you. Everybody literally ignoring you to the fullest, like you have no friends anymore. You can't do certain things that you used to. You're not going out to the club. You got it, and it's a temptation to go back to that world. So you got to continually endure and make not haste in time of trouble. Now this is the biggest problem with most everybody. Make not haste in time of trouble. The first thing that people do when shit hits the fan is they want to take matters into their own hands. You can't do that. That's where you gotta have that faith. That's where you gotta sit back and just let things happen and let the Most High Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, take care of things. Let's go ahead and read verse 3. Cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. Last end. So listen, this is very important right here. Cleave unto he and depart not away. In other words, keep the laws, the statutes within the laws, and the direct commands to the best of your ability, of course, according to your knowledge, with the also being able to use application with the things you learn that you are able to apply to it, like health laws, for instance. Those are the easiest ones. We can all follow the health laws. And it even says, if you're a vegetarian or if you eat meat, you don't make fun of each other, you just follow the health laws. But anyway, so depart not away, cleave unto him, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. What is your last end? That thou mayest be increased at, so cleave unto him, depart not away, that thou may be increased at thy last end. At thy last end, you will receive the kingdom. That's what this is all about. This isn't just like, well, so for 2 weeks, just do this what I say, and then in a month, your life is going to change. For all you know, nothing's going to change your whole entire life, but you still endured until thy last end, and you got a crown in the kingdom. This place is botched. This place was put together crappy by our enemies. They made us build it. They made us build their crappy empire, and it's botched. So, depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. Whatever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. It doesn't say be happy about everything. Oh, I'm just joyful and happy. Oh, yep, that was pretty bad. I mean, the car flipped 13 times. It didn't say that. It says be cheerful. Cheerful and happy are two different things, I'm just going to say. I mean, bad things are going to happen. But you don't want to walk through life with a negative outlook. So to be cheerful would to be have more of a positive outlook on everything, even though things are bad. Oh, just have faith, and the Most High will come and save you. So to be cheerful would to have faith. To have faith. It doesn't mean run around being happy when all these bad things are happening to you, because that would be almost impossible. But for some people, they know when bad things happen, they do get a little excited because they know that the Most High is dealing with them and something really good is getting ready to happen. Because it says right here, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. So, just like in verse 2, make not haste in time of trouble. Be patient when thou art brought to a low estate. So you don't want to be hasty, you want to be patient. You want to wait it out. You want to have faith. You want to let Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai take care of the problem. You don't take care of problems. He takes care of problems. He might take care of the problem through us, but wait for him. Let's keep going. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. The furnace of adversity. The furnace of trials and tribulations. So if you have an impurity in gold, say that there was like some other minerals went through it, and you could like see little specks of black and lighter colors. So you take this gold and you melt it into a liquid. And in doing so, you burn out all of the impurities that were in it. And now this gold, to be tried in the fire, means to burn out the impurities. For gold is tried in the fire. So when the Most High puts trials and tribulations upon you, he's burning out the impurities. Either you're not gold and you're just going to burn to a crisp, or the little tiny impurities in you are going to burn to a crisp and you're going to come out a better person. Verse 6, believe in him and he will help thee. Order thy way aright and trust in him. Isn't that what I just said? Be patient, have faith, haste not. What does this say? Verse 6, believe in him. How do you believe in the Most High? How do you believe in Yahweh? By following his laws, the statutes within his laws, and the direct commandments he gave us to the best of our ability, according to our knowledge, using application with the stuff that we learn that we can apply to our life. So, if you do believe in him, he will help you. It says so. And he will help thee. Order thy way aright and trust in him. Have faith. Ye that fear the Yahweh, wait for his mercy. Like I told you, wait on him. Let him take care of the problem. And go not aside lest ye fall. So, what did I tell you? Most people want to jump up and take matters right into their own hands right away. And what happens? You fail. You fail. That's what happens. Ye that fear the Lord, wait for his mercy, and go not aside, lest ye fall. And I was just telling you how the path, when you start following the instructions he gave you, it becomes so narrow, you look either side and you're literally going to fall right off the narrow path. Verse 8. Ye that fear the Lord, believe in him, and your reward shall not fail. So how do we get our reward? We believe in him. How do we believe in him? Law, statutes, and commandments. And following his instruction is how we show faith. Right? We find the law, statutes, and commandments. That's part of showing our faith. The other part of showing your faith is applying them to your life. You remember, be doers of the word, not just hearers of the word. You can't just hear this stuff and know that you're an Israelite and you're going to be saved. It don't say that anywhere. Not anywhere. Except for after you, I guess all of Israel shall be saved, but that's talking about after we establish the kingdom and the 2/3 die a horrific death, and then all of Israel will be saved because those 2/3 will be born back into the kingdom in righteousness. But anyway, different story. Let's keep going on Sirach 2 and 9. Fear the Lord, hope for good, and for every lasting. Let me not destroy that. Let's try it again. Sirach chapter 2 and verse 9. Ye that fear the Lord, hope for good, and for everlasting joy and mercy. That pretty much explains itself. If you fear the Lord, you're going to follow his instructions. We already know it's the law, statutes, and commandments. To hope for good means to have faith, to be patient, to not be hasty. If something goes wrong, you're not taking matters into your own hands and falling aside to fail. No, that's not what it's talking about. It said, you fear the Lord, you do what he says. Hope for good, that means you have faith. And for everlasting joy and mercy. That's the kingdom. Verse 10. Look at the generations of old and see, did ever any man trust in Yahweh and was confounded, was left to be alone? Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? And that's talking about Israelites. Because we know that he hates a few people out there. But we're talking about Israelites that are following the laws, the statutes within the laws, and the direct commands he gave us, that's patience that haste not in time of trouble. Did he ever despise one of them that called upon him? Because that's who was talking about. So I'm going to read one more, and then I'm just going to close it out. For the Yahweh is full of compassion and mercy, long-suffering and very pitiful, and forgiveth sins, and saveth in time of affliction. So, our Creator is a great God. Yahweh's put up with so much from us that we don't deserve anything. But he gave us grace so we could get our minds right. And right now, that's what we're doing. I'm just going to keep going. I'm finishing this whole chapter. He saveth in time of affliction. So he's never given us more than we can handle. Let's go to the next one. Woe be to fearful hearts and faint hands, and the sinners that goeth two ways. Ooh. I'm looking for the precept right now. Because, let me just keep going. That goeth two ways. Woe unto him that is faint-hearted, for he believeth not. Therefore shall he not be defended. But let's go back to 12. Woe be to the fearful hearts and faint hands, and the sinner that goeth two ways. And the precept I can't think of right now. It says that that he's like the waves of the sea. He wavereth back and forth. He's out of order. You're going two ways, you're out of order. You're all over the place, in other words. Woe unto you that have lost patience, and what will ye do when Yahweh shall visit you? So, it says, hasten not in time of trouble and be patient. In other words, don't be trying to take matters into your own hands. What happens when Yahweh shows up? He sees, oh, you're doing it all by yourself? Okay, gone. Or he might, you know what? You didn't listen, I'm going to destroy you. In other words, you ain't getting the kind of help that you were looking for. 15. They that fear the Lord will not disobey his word, and they that love him will keep his ways. It's telling you how to love him right there, to keep his ways. And we all know that it says to love the Lord is to keep his commandments. So, and I just don't know exactly where it's at. Oh, maybe it's, let's say. Oh, I know it's right here, but I wasn't able to find it. But he that loveth God will keep his commandments. That's the love of God, is to keep his commandments. All right. Let me read it again. Woe unto them that have lost patience, And what will you do when the Lord visits you? We know that you've lost patience, that you're being hasty, and you're not following instructions. They that fear the Lord will not disobey his word, and they that love him will keep his ways. So, if you fear the Lord and you love him, you're going to do the laws, the statutes within the laws, and the direct commandments that he gave you. You're going to follow his instructions. They that fear the Lord will seek that which is well pleasing unto him, and they will love him, they that love him shall be filled with the law. So it's a mutual agreement. You love the Most High, and you start seeking the law, and you start doing all the studies the way you're supposed to. It's like the 12 smart virgins. They sought after the law, so they were filled with the law. So those smart virgins, of course, are prophets. Those prophets that sought after the law were filled with the law, and in the end times, they knew what to do. And it's telling you the same thing right here. They that fear the Lord will seek that which is well pleasing unto him, law, statutes, and commandments. And they that love him will be filled with the law. So if you love the Lord, that means you're doing his instructions. So you are going to be filled with the law. So your lamp will be full of oil, and you'll be able to see what right and wrong is in the end times, which is now. Verse 17, they that fear the Lord will prepare their hearts and humble their souls in his sights. How do you prepare your heart? By practicing the righteous acts. Practicing the righteous acts. Let me go ahead and I'm going to read the one last verse, and I'm going to go close it out there. Saying, we will fall into the hands of the Lord, and not into the hands of men, for as his majesty is, so is his mercy. So, I'm going to read 17 and 18 again, and we're going to close it out there. They that fear the Lord will prepare their hearts and humble their souls to his sight, saying, we will fall into the hands of the Lord, and not into the hands of men. For as his majesty is, so is his mercy. So, by keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, and doing what's pleasing to the Lord, to hasten not in time of trouble, to go through all of the trials and tribulations and still be golden, the Most High is going to deal with you, and he's not going to let man deal with you. You're going to fall into the hands of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. And man, this class is like got pages more left. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop there. And I pray if you've got eyes to see and ears to hear, that you were able to get something out of this message. Lord willing, it was edifying. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wawa Kadash, and have a great rest of the afternoon.